The next day, as Hee-ju goes to the court to act as an interpreter for a domestic violence case, Se-eon receives a report from Jae, who couldn't find anything useful about the kidnapper. Just then, the bodyguard Se-eon has assigned for Hee-ju texts him and says that the court session is over, so he asks her to bring Hee-ju back home. As the bodyguard is standing outside the washroom, she suddenly sees a fight between the couple from the court case earlier, so she goes to sort things out, but in that duration, a man begins approaching the washroom. Hee-ju thinks that his footsteps are oddly similar to the kidnapper and she grows panicked. By the time her bodyguard returns to check on her, she is not there. The guard starts looking for her frantically and updates Se-eon about the situation, but then she sees Hee-ju with a man. Turns out it is one of Hee-ju's old friend Sang-woo, and right now they are catching up on lost time. As they chat and laugh together, the guards send him some pictures of them. This makes Se-eon jealous because Hee-ju is looking like she is having fun with him, and he tells the guards to stop clicking pictures because it is not their job. Anyway, Sang-woo tells Hee-ju that he was worried when she went off the grid 3 years ago, but he was glad to see her on the news. He tells her that he is going to join the news channel she works for as crime reporter and asks for her number. After that, Hee-ju returns home, but her mother comes there just then with some lingerie and other stuff to help her seduce Se-eon. Hee-ju asks her how can she be so desperate to sell her out, but her mom reminds him that when she married Se-eon, she put a condition that her dad be put in the best nursing home. She reminds her that if she fails to keep her marriage, her father will be out on the streets, and Hee-ju can't say anything against that because her father is her weakness. Later, Hee-ju takes a bath and puts on the seductive clothes, but she is sure that once she gets out of this marriage, her mother will have nothing on her. On the other hand, Se-eon is in his office, thinking about the lessons he got from his mom earlier. She told him that negotiations are not about dominating the other party but building a rapport with them. At exactly 10 o'clock, he gets a call from Hee-ju pretending to be the kidnapper, and she asks him if he has made up his mind. Se-eon first asks how does she know about Hee-ju in the first place, but she replies that it doesn't matter because she just wants to bring him down. Se-eon furiously replies that there will be no negotiation, but then Hee-ju sends him a picture of her thick thighs, and he asks her what is it. She asks him if he can't even identify the mole on his wife's thigh. Se-eon gets furious at this and says that the photograph is definitely fake because he knows his wife well. However, this makes Hee-ju angry and she tells him to see his wife's thigh for himself before saying anything and then cuts the call, only realizing later that she basically invited him to her bed. In that time, Jae and others have tracked the broad location of the call, and Se-eon tells them to narrow down their search to a married or divorced guy who has previous molestation cases against him. On the other hand, Hee-ju is still flustered about what she did earlier when Se-eon returns home. She hides under her blanket as he enters her room without permission and pulls away the blanket, causing him to fall over her in K-drama style. Hee-ju gets panicked and scared, so Se-eon backs up without checking what he came for. He tells her that he has got her a job as the sign language interpreter of the presidential office, but she needs to earn it if she wants to keep working. He goes outside to drink water, and on seeing the empty dinner table, he remembers a time 3 years ago when Hee-ju tried to kindle romance in their married life. But he clearly told her to stay out of his way because he doesn't need her to be his wife anywhere besides on paper. On the other hand, Hee-ju's heart is pounding rapidly after her interaction with Se-eon, and she can't sleep at all. The next morning, she wakes up late, and to her shock, Se-eon has not yet gone to office. He tells her that he will go in afternoon and says that he needs his breakfast first. Hee-ju goes to prepare it, but surprisingly, he comes there and takes charge of the cooking, treating her like his assistant. He then asks her about the man she met at the courthouse, and Hee-ju tells him that he is a college friend. He gets jealous when she says that he is a good man, and leaves, telling her to eat breakfast because he only prepared her share. On the other hand, Hee-ju's cheerful colleague Yuri is returning from her office, but she gets caught in a stampede of fans that causes her to trip, but luckily Sang-woo is there to hold her in K-drama style. She immediately feels a spark between them, and once they head inside, she learns that he is going to be working on her show. She apologizes for dropping hot coffee on his hand and gives him her contact details. Meanwhile, Hee-ju goes to the nursing home, where her mentally infirm father is staying. He mistakes her for her mother, who left his years ago, and tells her that she should raise Hee-ju properly so that she can become a good news anchor. Hee-ju breaks down on hearing this, telling her dad that he should have kept her with him, because ever since she started living with her mom, she hasn't had a single day of peace. On the other side, Se-eon sees a clear security video of the kidnapping and finds that the kidnapper got into car quite easily. He then goes to ask some questions to Jin, who says that if the kidnapper sent a sleazy picture of his wife and asked him to end the relationship, it is obviously an extramarital affair. This has made him insecure as he waits for the kidnapper's routine call. That comes exactly at 10 o'clock again. However, Saeon cuts the call first, and on second time he tells the kidnapper to call him again in 5 minutes, trying to take advantage of his desperation. Hee-ju is confused out of her mind on hearing his attitude, and she has no choice but to wait since he doesn't pick up the calls. When she calls him after 5 minutes, she tries to calm herself down, but then she imagines Saeon sitting right next to her, complimenting her for waiting patiently like a dog. She gets furious at him and says that he will regret it, but then suddenly hears a loud explosion that sends her ears ringing, and then finds that the call has been cut and Saeon's number is switched off.